Hello, everybody, and welcome into another breaking news video here at the Hockey Writers. Feels like the trade deadline right now, Jacob. We got another trade to talk about. Well, I guess two. One that happened late last night, and one that just happened today as we're recording. So we'll start with that one because it just happened. Mikael Granlund, Cody Ceci, going from the San Jose Sharks to the Dallas Stars for 2025 first round pick. 2025 conditional third round pick. So basically two players for picks. Dallas gets a pretty good centerman, a veteran guy that, Granlund has been really good for the Sharks this season and since he became a Shark, really. And Ceci moved to his latest team after being traded to the Sharks before this season too. So you're looking at a deal that the Sharks are probably going to trade these guys before the deadline. It's happening way before that. What do you think about this deal for the Stars? Of course, the Sharks get futures as they would with these players.
Yeah, Granlund is the centerpiece here, and arguably worth the first and fourth round pick on his own. He's on pace for 70 points this year. He's been great defensively, all things considered, with the team that he's on. And he's had like the toughest matchups in the league. He's always going against the top guys of the other teams and letting the other young guys like Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith and Willie Macklin kind of get shadowed a little bit. Um, so yeah, he's been having a fantastic season. I think with Tyler Seguin out, it makes perfect sense to bring him in. He's almost a perfect replacement at that point. And for Cody Ceci, I don't know why you bring him in. I know Nils Lundqvist was just placed on LTIR and had season-ending shoulder surgery. So, but now you got a right side of Matt Dumba, sorry, Ilya Lyubushkin and Cody Ceci. Don't love that. I would like to see them go for somebody a bit bigger, or better, I guess. Um, but yeah, I don't hate it. Bringing Cody Ceci in, he makes 3.25 million for the rest of this season. He's UFA. It's not gonna affect anything. They have the cap space to do it. I think it makes sense. But obviously Granlund is the biggest piece here, and to give up only a first round pick and it's going to be a fourth round pick probably.
Yeah.
It's the condition on it is if they. I don't like that they call it a conditional third round pick. It's a conditional fourth round pick. It's a fourth
Yeah.
round pick, but if they make the playoffs, it's upgraded to a third.
And that's not happening.
Yeah.
It's looking like like I say, the Sharks are selling again this season, and looking for, of course, getting another first round pick to add to this draft, and they just keep continuing to rebuild as they're going around Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith. Really, Granlund, like I say, has been a very good veteran for the Sharks, and it's really bounced back from not being very good for the Predators. Oh, no, for the Wild for a while there, and then went to the Predators. I had maybe one good season there and didn't play very well after that, and then back to the going to the Sharks looked really good. So
Oh,
he's a
and
guy
don't
that
forget about his stint in Pittsburgh too, where he looked
Pittsburgh there
terrible.
was there too, right? Yeah, forgot about that one. Yeah, so he's been good lately. And looking at the Stars' depth, they've got a lot of it already. You add Granlund in there, their forwards are pretty good. You're looking at four really good lines, and their defense. We'll see how it goes with CC. He's not going to be in a big role, not as much as he was in San Jose because he was in the top four there. Um, he won't be in the top four in Dallas, I don't think.
No,
He'll
there's
probably,
no chance.
yeah. All right. Well, that's one. Let's talk briefly about the other one that happened late last night. I passed actually around midnight Eastern, and that was the Canucks flipping their first round pick that they got in the Miller trade and trading it to the Pittsburgh Penguins for Marcus Pettersson and Drew O'Connor. Alongside that first round pick went Danton Heinen and Vincent Desharnais. So two free agents that the Canucks signed in the offseason to 2-year deals each. They are now in Pittsburgh. Obviously, they say, well, they didn't work out in Vancouver, so they're gone. And then Marcus Pettersson coming to Vancouver. Now the Canucks have the market cornered on the Petterssons. They got three of them now, with Elias Pettersson coming in. He's He's on the roster right now. He hasn't played in a couple games, but they could potentially have three Petterssons in the lineup at one point. And then, of course, Drew O'Connor, a pretty good bottom six guy. Maybe a little bit of a downgrade on Heinen, if you're looking at it, but he's been pretty good for the Penguins. He was in double digits in goals last season. Both unrestricted free agents coming up. So the question is, everyone's saying, why didn't they just wait until the offseason to sign these guys rather than giving up a first round pick to get both of them? What do you think about this deal? I'll give more thoughts on it after, but what do you think about it?
I like Drew O'Connor a bit more than you're leading on to. I think that he does have potential to be like that 35 point guy. He's got good speed and good physicality. I quite like him. And he's one of those guys that you can plug in like on the top line. He's not a top line player, but he can fit in
Mm.
and look well there. Kind of like the expectation was going to be with Danton Heinen for the Canucks. I mean, you look at free agency, all three players that they signed on July 1st are already gone. I don't love this deal for them either. I didn't like the JT Miller trade, but that was a whole other can of worms. But I don't know, giving up a first round pick for like if it was the Stars doing it, I can see that. I don't think the Canucks are dangerous this year. I don't know why they're loading up. I know they're kind of trying to fix their problems and whatnot, and I think it's just too little, too late for that. They might make the playoffs. I don't see them as being a dangerous team this year unless they do a complete 180 and start dominating. But right now, it's just Quinn Hughes and a bunch of guys skating around.
The one thing about it, I mean, Marcus Pettersson obviously upgrades the defense. You're looking at him playing in the top four and now pushing guys like Carson Soucy down to the bottom pairing, and Noah Juleson out of the lineup. Guys that when you're looking at that top six, it looks a lot stronger. But when you're looking at what they gave up to use that first round pick, now their forward group isn't as strong. You're looking at their second line center is right now Philip Hedl, and Pettersson and Hedl, Bluger, and Pius Suter as your other centerman. Um, it doesn't look strong. It's not. I mean, it's you're looking at Hedl. He's ideally a third line center on a good team, and in Vancouver, he's maybe forced into a set. Well, he is. I mean, he is the second line center. And I mean, he does have the potential to maybe be that guy. I mean, he didn't get that opportunity in New York. He was pretty much their third line guy. He's had injury issues. I don't know. I don't like it. When you're looking on paper, maybe he'll fit in right away and maybe I'll eat my words on it. But at this point, yes, you upgrade your defense, but you downgraded your offense quite a bit by trading Miller and not getting anyone in return and not using that first round pick to get a legit second line center or 1A, 1B, whatever you want to call it. I mean, O'Connor, like you said, can slot in a top six role, but that's not where you want him permanently. And that the Canucks have been doing this lately where they're pushing guys into the top six that maybe shouldn't be there. Connor Garland, I love the guy, but ideally on a really good team, he's a third line forward, and he's been playing in the top six all season. Really good season, but yeah, I'm just looking at that top six, and it's not a playoff top six in my opinion.
No, and you kind of took the
Right?
words right out of my mouth. Drew O'Connor, Philip Hedl, and Connor Garland is an amazing third line.
Yeah.
None of them should be on the second line, and that's what projected lineups kind of have it set at right now. Obviously, it might be Niels Höglander that goes up there, Dakota
Mhm.
Joshua or whatnot. Like there could be some movement, but as of right now, that's the way it looks. I don't love it. And you mentioned upgrading the defense. Sure, always important, but it's not a game-changing upgrade. Like it's like I don't know. I like Hughes. I mean, obviously everybody likes Hughes. He's the best defenseman in the NHL. I like Hronek and I like Pettersson. But like Tyler Myers, and correct me if I'm wrong, you watch a lot more Canucks than I do, but Tyler Myers hasn't been seeming to have a great season. And then Carson Soucy and Derek Forbort still in the lineup. Those are three guys that are I don't know. I'm not confident in any of them. And I mean, even in the offseason, I was looking at Tyler Myers as a target for the Senators. I like his game, but from what I've seen, he hasn't looked fantastic this year. And then Forbort and Soucy should be like 6, 7 defensemen, not your full second pair or third pair, sorry. And then at least, like you said, at least it's Noah Juleson coming out of the lineup now. But like, I don't know. I don't think it really moves the needle for them with how many passengers they have on that defensive group right now.
I will say with Tyler Myers, I've actually liked his game this season. He's been one of the guys that I think he's played really well with Quinn Hughes since he came back from the suspension. Has been one of the
Mm.
best. I mean, he's been really good. Even before that, he was really good with Hughes. When Hronek was out for that long period, he actually played with him quite a bit, and he looked good. I don't personally, I don't get the hate on Tyler Myers. A lot of the fan base here don't like him. I mean, like I say, ideally he's a third. He's on the third pairing. He is in the top four. I've said this many times. Whoever I've said this to, I can't remember. I've talked to a lot of people about it, but with Myers, he's good in a certain amount of ice time,
Hmm.
and if he goes above that, you give him more time to make mistakes, he will make them. If you don't, and you give him in a good, I say 15 to 18 minutes, he's good in that range. You get him over 20, yeah, it gets a bit dicey. But I really like him in a certain ice time. And you're forced into more, then he's not as good of a defenseman. And that's with a lot of the guys the Canucks have been playing this season in higher roles. Noah Juleson, I like him, but not at what he's been playing lately because you give him
For like
more
11 or
time to
12
make
minutes, you like
mistakes.
them. Yeah.
And he has been making them. So, I mean, Pettersson, very good two-way defenseman. He was going to probably garner a return like this, but maybe it's a bit much. And everyone's saying, well, the Canucks are going to re-sign him. Maybe. But it's looking like Alvin still wants to give this team a chance at the playoffs. And by doing this, it's looking like you said, if it was the Dallas Stars making it, oh yeah, it makes sense. But for a team that's borderline playoffs and may not even make it, and the fact that they've gutted their top six by getting rid of JT Miller, it doesn't look as good. So we'll see what
And
happens.
and still probably gonna trade Brock Besser.
Yeah, I mean that's what it is when you're around that deadline, the trade deadline, and the Canucks aren't in there. Besser probably is gone too. And look, and even guys like, I mean, if they're out of the playoffs, Pius Suter maybe a guy that's traded because he's a UFA coming up and he could maybe be worth a pick. And you're looking at, I mean, people have even thrown out the idea of trading Thatcher Demko. And that could happen too. Lankinen is another idea. I mean, if they don't re-sign him, he's also a UFA coming up. Lots of stuff that could still happen. And I mean, the Pettersson thing is not off the table either. When you're looking
Right.
at, he could potentially be dealt as well. But like, a couple of analysts have said already, they'll probably give him a bit of leeway here to see if he can step up as the
Mhm.
main guy now. And if he doesn't, maybe they'll revisit something before the deadline, but we'll see.
Well, and
Lots of
even
stuff still to happen.
things could even change. Like obviously Brock Besser, I think he's gone by the deadline. It sounds like he's not coming back, so they're either going to decide to try and do something in the playoffs or they're just going to trade him. Doesn't I don't know. I think it was Darren Dreger said that he's not returning to Vancouver next year. Obviously, I don't. It's not a foregone conclusion, but it sounds like that's the belief right now. So you could trade Besser, you could trade Suter. Um, you could flip O'Connor and Pettersson and closer
Yeah.
to the deadline get a better return. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to follow this team at the deadline.
Yeah. I mean, the next couple weeks are going to be interesting too. I think, even before the Four Nations, lots of stuff has happened before that already. You don't know. I mean, Alvin's going to speak to the media in a few hours. We'll see what he says there, and probably won't say too much, but GMs rarely do. But we'll see what his thoughts are on the media. Will try to get some things out of him, but we'll see. Yeah, lots more of these videos to come. I can see that. So we'll keep going. But thanks, Jacob, coming on and talking these couple trades. We'll see what's next. But make sure to check out everything at thehockeyriders.com as we cover these trades and all the stuff at the Substack as well. Follow us there, and of course on Twitter and or X and Facebook, all that stuff. But until our next video, we will see you next time.